So no beanie today, going full solar powered sex machine.
We're being fully solar charged today, are we? Is that the plan?
We are. I'm like, ladies, be
Well, to be
careful
fair,
with solar power.
I'm probably going to be charging you up with this beautiful, like it looks almost Auburn in this camera setting.
It
But
does.
I swear it is a bit more red than this. But I'm actually not. I'm not disappointed. Actually, it looks quite good.
Exactly.
Sorry, I'm just admiring myself through the camera.
It
It looks quite nice actually. It looks a bit fiery.
Look at this hair. This hair right here. That's my number one hair.
Dorks Down Under.
So, would you like me to take this one, Des?
Yes, you can take the intro because I hate intros, as you know.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Dorks Down Under. I am one of your hosts, Jordan, and co-hosting with me is Des, all the way in Australia, and I'm obviously in New Zealand. Hence the reason why we're wearing the All Blacks.
And the accent?
And the accent, obviously, originally I'm British, but you know, we like to have fun with it. Basically, we've got a couple of things to cover today. We've got two main topics. One of them is going to be our Aliexpress challenge. Seems as though Aliexpress have actually speedily delivered both of our ends this time. So
it's bizarre, like, because I got the email and it's like, so I said, so I ended up ordering 4 things. So I ordered 3 things. So one was going to be one that was, I'll tell people because it ended up getting cancelled, was the gun from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Ooh, yes.
And then I got that and I was like, yeah, cool. And then that kind of I got it back and it said, oh, that's been cancelled. We no longer have that. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I was like, all right. So that was actually about $42. So it was slightly over.
Yeah, okay.
So, and then there was one thing that I've always wanted, which is probably now going to become my main thing because it's kind of all I've got. And then there was one thing that was stupid that I saw and just reminded us a little bit of this podcast. And then, you know, when you always buy something, it says, have you tried this and this? And they were like, I think it was like $4 and like $7. And I'm like, nah. So I think I spent all up about, I think it was about $48.
Okay. Well, mine's come in, and obviously we'll get round to it. But so obviously, first we'll go for our AliExpress challenges first. But the second topic we're going to be discussing is Warhammer 40k, or more specific, we'll discuss Warhammer in general. I like the fantasy element as well, so I'm sure I could weasel you around to the fantasy element side of things.
As long as I'm painting, like, because I don't know the game. Like, as I said last time, I don't know the game. I just love to paint. So if the miniature's pretty, that's all I care about.
All right. Well, sweet. We'll be fine on that. So that's going to be the topics for this week, guys. Obviously, one thing I'd like to hijack, and obviously, first things first. Obviously, there's some sad news out of the UK the other day.
Oh yeah.
Very sad. Queen Elizabeth II is sadly no longer of this realm. May she be in Valhalla with her corgi dogs and everything else.
Oh man, that was weird because I woke up and it was like 6 o'clock, and you know when you wake up and on your phone it will say, oh, you've got a notification that Jordan like said this or that this person posted on Facebook. I had one on Twitter and it says the Queen died, and I'm like, what? And I clicked on it and I was like, it's so weird, like, because for me especially, like, I mean, I'm so used to her being on my coin. She's been the only monarch I've really known. Yeah. And for example, my Auntie Louisa, whose birthday was technically yesterday, so Saturday, we filmed this on a Sunday, she's a massive queen. Like she's got all the plates. Like you want to get her anything, just find whatever's just been released.
One of the coronation plate collectors. All right, yeah.
Not just plates. Like anything. Like mugs, if you don't know what to get her, just go onto Buckingham Palace and just go buy whatever's new. Like. She's obsessed, and she's actually my godmother, and it was her birthday, and I believe she turned 68 or 69.
Nice.
So you think about it, she's somebody. Yeah, I know. Yes.
Sorry.
I know. Nice. It's kind of weird. It's my godmother, but
I can't resist. Whenever that number comes up, it's like nice.
It's just the child in you.
It is honestly. Ellie's like, why did you say nice? It's like nice, and then she's like, oh my god.
Yeah, but you think about it. So this is a woman that I've known obviously all my life. She was my godmother. She's massive about the royals. Like when Princess died, she ended up taking a couple of days off work because it affected her so much. Like she's really into it. Like to the point where if I ever want to know anything about the royals, I just go on her Facebook and it will tell me what's happened. Like, oh, Princess Margaret put her hair in plaits today.
So if you ever need a summary of what's going on in the royals' lives, you just go speak to your godmother. That's good.
Yeah,
idea.
pretty much. So and it's weird, but to think right that she's obviously almost 70.
Mm.
She loves the royal family, loves this, and this is still the only monarch that she's ever known.
Yeah. No,
It's kind of bizarre, like 70 years.
I mean, yeah, it is fascinating. I mean, I have a lovely memory of the Queen, because in year 7, I think it was my second week in year 7, she actually came to our school to open our sports hall because it was commemorated to her, and so the year 7s all had to line up and said and,
That's cool.
and curtsy and blah 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 and all that jazz, and of course, was it nice? I got to meet the Queen. Yes, you know, it was lovely. But all I mainly remember from that day is every teacher being anally retentive on the uniform standards that day. Oh my God, if you had a hair out of place, they were, on your hide. It was,
my hair's perfect.
It's like, Jordan, Halligan, get that shirt tucked in. Sorry, sir. It's like, God forbid. It's like, it's like, you want to say this phrase. It's not like the Queen's got, and it's like, oh no, the Queen is coming.
Yeah,
okay, we kind of have to be.
Doesn't work.
But it's funny because being year 7s and all our parents, especially the boys, have been bought blazers that are 4 sizes too big.
Yeah.
Because parents weren't going to be forking out money every year for a new blazer.
Yeah, they'll grow into it. It's fine.
So she's just been greeted by about 150. No, it must have been probably about 80 so boys, all in these massive blazers. And
I remember that at our school as well, because when I was in year 9 or 10, I think it was, they decided to amalgamate 3 schools, and they decided to try to make it more fancy, and they brought in blazers. And then because we were in year 10 going into year 11, I think it was, they went, well, you don't have to because there's no point buying you for 2 years.
Yeah.
But I just remember seeing like these year 7s coming in with the backpacks almost the size of them. I remember Tree's little brother, who is probably about 3.5 foot, having this backpack that was bigger than him, having this blazer that I swear to God was like this big. But Tree was 6'1", 6'2", weirdly. So his brother, by the time his brother was in year 9, the jacket came up to here. Yeah. Like he just had this massive growth spurt. But I just remember seeing all these little year 7s with this jacket that I'm like, bro, that's never going to fit you. And then over the years, they grow into it.
I think I had to get a new one in year 9 because I outgrew mine, sort of thing. Because it was just one of those things but there was a second-hand uniform sale and blah blah blah. I feel like it's hilarious for our new Prime Minister because, for those of you who aren't aware of, obviously the new British female Prime Minister, she spent the early part of her career campaigning against the monarchy and that it should be abolished.
Wasn't it only like 6 days before her death that she met Queen Elizabeth and she swore her in and stuff, and then she tried to say all these nice things about her?
She had been in officially for 2 days.
Oh my God.
And Her Majesty died, and now she has to do it with the kid. It's just like, when you kind of feel like the universe is playing one big joke on someone. It's like, sorry, did you want to get rid of the monarchy? We're going to make sure you're being surrounded by them for your first couple of weeks very seriously. So it was I kind of feel like, it's hilarious. I mean, one thing I did find funny, because obviously I enjoy watching other YouTubers and stuff like that, is one YouTuber I enjoy indulging in his content is JSlat, which I'm sure you're aware of. JSlat. He's a big famous YouTuber in he does gaming and stuff like that. He's been involved in lots of games. He has this thing.
I'll say no, but I have a feeling though that after this I'll Google it.
I will get the tweet up, but it was really funny because he did this thing where he went to Britain, obviously, for a secret thing, and he was saying, "Oh, looking forward to coming to England," and blah blah blah, and so on and so forth. And then he did a photo about 2 hours before the announcement, saying, "Oh, it was great being in England. Can't and said it's been great, and can't wait for you to see the results." And then, of course, he's then in the air. The announcement comes out. He lands. He says, "Rest in peace, Queen Elizabeth. I want to reiterate, I had nothing to do with this. I know how it looks." Because, of course, all his fans are on him, and all his British fans are like Tommy in it, who's done some things with his life. Had verified to Twitter, get rid of his status. He doesn't deserve it after what he has done to our poor country.
Oh my God!
So it's entertaining.
There's a singer here, called, what's his name, Conrad Sol, and he released the song at 9 a.m. So it was already planned. And I know that Nova and Fox and a few of the other radio stations here in Australia were like, oh, we've got the Conrad Sol thing going live tomorrow or whatever. So they were all like spruiking it.
Mm.
It was God Save the Queen. He did like this cool, funky pop version of God Save the Queen. I'm like, this could either be like the worst marketing ever or could possibly be the greatest marketing.
Yeah.
Because you Google Queen, all these stuff's going to come up.
Yeah,
Like maybe somewhere in there
I
he's
agree. It was one of those funny things because obviously on Friday, you know, Ellie was a bit upset when she found out and left because likewise, like you, I've always known the Queen. This is my thing. I grew up with all my great grandparents and my grandparents talking about and having the commemorative plates and all that. So I'm not a royalist per se, but you know, I don't see any harm in the monarchy. They do a purpose and do a job, and it's good. But you know, so I was kind of feeling a bit on and off throughout the day. But what was getting me through was TikTok. When I was having little TikTok breaks would work, was seeing things like someone had done King Charles's first address to the UK Prime Minister, and it's Palpatine standing up at the guy saying, "We will form the great galactic empire."
Well, that's the other thing I saw on Twitter. There was somebody that shared the new 20-cent piece here in Australia, and it had obviously the 20-cent piece. Which, if for anyone that hasn't seen, I'll try to put it up on the screen if I'm editing this week. But it's kind of like looks like these swirls of this river with the platypuses, and then it has a 20. But then on the reverse side, it had Prince Charles' profile.
Okay.
And there's like 15 people went, I'm not ready for that. Like, I'm really not ready for Prince Charles the Third.
It's funny because like, I've seen loads of things about TikTok of like people like of Australia and New Zealand hearing the news, and it's like, so are we getting a day off? And it's like,
we are.
Oh yeah, you are. We haven't had ours confirmed yet. It's happening Monday. So tomorrow they're discussing it whether we're going to have a day off. Logically, they will.
Yeah, because Jordan messaged me this morning, which I forgot. I was out doing a bit of shopping, also buying a vest for Number's wedding. So fingers crossed it still goes ahead because I've just bought the vest now. But I'm joking. Numbers, we love you. We know it's going ahead. It's fine. I'm just mucking around.
It's all right. She'll change your mind. Don't worry. We'll sort that out.
Yeah, I know. We'll figure it out. Well, you'll marry somebody on that day anyway. Even if Jordan has to marry you, it's fine. It's allowed.
But don't know. I'm already. Don't think so, buddy. You're the one who's single.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah, and I'm the best man, so that could get really weird. Oh god,
Yeah.
It's weird. Like I know that seeing on Twitter as well. There's a lot of people like the Irish and the Blacks that had a lot of things, and I don't get me wrong, I understand it, but at the end of the day, this was a monarch that ran for 70 years, and it's sad to see her go because she probably has been a part of 90% of people's lives, especially in the Commonwealth.
She did loads of good. I mean, yeah, okay. There was some controversial things that happened, you know, and you know, but the fact is, there's been some good stuff, and like hearing stories about like how two American tourists, she was out walking in the fells in Balmoral, and she bumped into two American tourists with a former bodyguard, and they didn't recognize who she was, and basically she had a joke with them and said, "Oh yeah, he's met the Queen several times," and so they were asking him all the questions and got her to take a photo of him, of the guy with the Thor thing, and then the guy was like, "Oh, maybe you should take one of her as well," you know. and when they walked away, when they walked away, she was like, "I'd pay anything to be a fly on the wall when he shows them to his friends."
Oh, 100%, especially in social media, it would have blown up and gone viral had that happened.
"Oh, we met this beautiful old lady," and it's like, "Old lady, that's the Queen, you idiot." It's like, what?
I met Costa Zoo, who's a famous boxer.
All right.
Had no idea who he was at the time. So he walked into. So I worked at the Qantas Lounge, in between when I came back from America to South Africa, because they went, "You're going to work about 12 hours a day. Here's your rate," and I'm like, "That's more money than I get at working clubs." I was like, "I'll gladly take that." All I had to do was open beers, pour them into a glass, and hand it to him. No money, no nothing. It was the easiest job I've ever had. But we had the Crocodile Hunter came in. Yeah. Okay, so you know how you see him on TV, and he's like,
Yeah.
He's like that in person.
He's not. Like,
He's. Oh, hey mate, how's things? Do you have any soft drink? Because I don't really drink beer. No. I'm like, oh my god, bro.
I always thought that for the show he did, you know.
No.
You know.
So get this. So his flight was at about 8 o'clock, and it had been cancelled. And then so the Qantas Lounge stayed open an extra hour, which is great because I get extra time. And they bumped him to the next flight. And I remember seeing him, and I'm like, oh, hey, mate, how's things? Do you want another a lemonade? He's like, yeah, if you don't mind, mate, that'd be great. He's like, oh, they bumped my flight. I'm hoping to get home. I really want to see the girls and stuff. And I was like, oh, they'll trust me. They'll do everything they can. It wouldn't surprise me. And then as I'm talking to him, the boss of the lounge comes up and he's like, oh, hey, Steve, how's things? And he's like, oh, I'm good, mate. Good. How's things? He goes, you get the flight worked out? I'm like, he's like, and he sounds excited. He's like, oh yeah, we've got good news and kind of bad news. He's like, we've got good news. We can get you on the next flight. Unfortunately, it's not business class. It's going to be economy. He goes, so what do I care? As long as I get home to see the girls, I don't mind. I'm like, so you've probably paid 3-4 times your ticket price and you've been bumped to economy. And he's excited.
I'm sure that they were going to give him the money or credit back. You know, there would have been a thing behind
but
the deal.
He was cool. Costa Zoo, I didn't know who he was. He had like gold rings everywhere. He had like all these gold chains. And I was like, your favorite color is not gold by any chance? He's like, and he had a bit of a chuckle, and he's like, yeah, he goes, yeah, either gold or blue and stuff like that. And then the guy that was working with me goes, do you know who that was? Costa Zoo. I was like,
great.
I don't know who that is. And he's like, oh, he's an Australian champion boxer. And Googling him and stuff, he's an amazing boxer. Yeah. Like he's kind of like Australia's kind of version of like say for Floyd Mayweather, Pacquiao.
He's kind of like Anthony Joshua, but you know, everyone and their mother know. Oh, it's Anthony Joshua. Don't know anything. He's a British boxer.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. He's a bit of a knob, I found. But I don't like him. I don't know why. But yeah, he's like he's tiny. And I was like, oh, that's good then. He's like, why? I was like, oh, because I was going to punch him originally, but I better not now. And the guy started laughing. The worst thing is though, is as I said that, I was like, oh, sorry, I didn't know who he was. And he's like, oh, at least you were nice to him. I was like, well yeah, because I was going to punch him, but then I thought I better not because he's a customer. So my boss starts laughing. He's like, he would have knocked you the fuck out. And then from a distance, I just hear this laughter coming from him, and he's like, he looks like he's got a jaw on him. That's all he said. And I'm like, oh my god.
You do realize I'm going to be Editor Jones going to clip this and put it out there as a challenge to Costas. I'm going to find him on the social.
Well, his son's boxing now. So
there you go. We'll get his son. We'll throw a challenge out for his son, shall we?
Dorks Down Under.
So Aliexpress challenge. Dez set this in episode 1.
Yes, and weirdly, it's not episode. It's not episode 25.
No, it isn't. No, so you messed that up.
Well, because mine originally said that it was going to come. So one of the items was due to come, which is the item that I kind of got for about $4 or $5 that I loved so much, and I just got for the sake of it, and it wasn't really part of the challenge. It was just something stupid. But all the rest of them said they were going to be here by I think it was the 15th or the 17th of October.
Okay.
So then what happened is I got a big bag delivered to work, and they all came in. So they all had different tracking numbers. Then when they got to Australia, it looked like they all got put in the same bag because it got changed to one tracking number, and it literally got here the Monday after we finished filming last week.
Okay. Well,
so it got here super quick.
So I'll fill in the people who haven't listened to our earlier thing.
Sorry.
So the challenge is at the very end of the episode, Des set a challenge that he wanted us to both go on to AliExpress because he knew us. I'm a fan of buying stuff.
So am I.
You know. Yes, with his plain background. But anyway, so
I'm getting a posted duty. I promise.
The challenge was $35. Can't go over. This was Aussie bucks, by the way. $35. Can't go over. What can we get that's cool? I'll tell you now. The two things I didn't order, which I mean, I'm not disappointed by the purchase I've got. It's off to the side.
Yes.
But I'm a little bit disappointed. I kind of wish I'd ordered one of the other two things now. What I could have got, got the Hellraiser box. That actually it actually moves and forms in the thing.
Cool.
I thought that was quite cool. The other one was the chalice from the Indiana Jones.
I saw that. I almost got that. That was in my list. So what I did is I added a whole heap of things.
Yes.
And after I did it, I sent Jordan a thing. I was saying, "Is this too much over?" And it had like 17 items, and it was like $250. Like it was stupid.
Yeah.
There was that. There was the chalice from Indiana Jones, and the other one was the pumpkin bomb from Green Goblin.
That was on my. That was. I took it off the shortlist. I thought that's too easy. I wanted something. Originally, I was like, "Oh, be something obscure," but I couldn't find anything obscure in the price bracket. Everything that I wanted, I was seeing some stuff that was cool, but I was like, am I really going to spend $65 just to one up Dez? And then my wife
yes.
reminded me that it's my money, and if I spend $65 just to one up Dez, I'm going to be in big trouble. So I ended up bringing my expectations down. So anyway, how do you want to do this, Dez? Do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first? I don't mind.
I'm going to show you the two little things that I got because it sounds like you've got a thing. So one thing that I got that I was actually really surprised with. So this is one of the things that I clicked on and did this. So I'm going to hold it up to the camera if I can get that to work.
Oh, it's the Robin symbol from Batman Beyond. No, it's Batman
actually,
and Robin.
This one's actually from Teen Titans, but it is very similar to the one from.
Is it from Titan Show? Titans.
Yeah,
DC Titans.
But,
okay.
So I got it. So this was $4, right?
Okay.
So this is my lightsaber.
Can't hear it.
It's metal. Oh, can you not hear it?
No. There we go. Okay.
That's metal.
All right.
It cost me $4.
Probably worth more than scrap, isn't it?
That's what, like, I don't know what metal it is, but I'm like, I kind of liked it, and I saw it, and I was like, ooh. So I'm just like, okay, cool. So I got that for $4. That was one of the things I grabbed. And the other thing that I grabbed that was not really part of the challenge, but it was just kind of silly, and I saw it, and it made me happy. So for anybody that watches me, I've always had a knife on me, and mainly because I used to watch, what was it, MacGyver. Love MacGyver. And I got this cool little hat. So I don't know if you can see it. So it says MacGyver's School for Engineering.
Ah, okay.
And then it says improvise or die. And it has a paper clip, duct tape, and a pocket knife in the coat of arms.
Okay, all right.
So I got that just because it was so silly and it made me happy. And I was just like, I'm going to do that. Okay. And then one of the two things that I got for the challenge was this bad boy.
I did see yes, I did see the Predator face. That did pop up on my list as well.
So this just made me happy because it just reminded me of the first episode.
Oh my god, the sound! It sounds. Can you do the Bane script? You were born. I was born.
This is what I bought for the challenge. So this is kind of stupid, and I mainly bought. I probably should take that off, but I mainly bought this because of the chuckle and because of our second episode. I know, it was so
third episode. No, second episode. No, it was
second episode. Yeah. And the thing that I've always kind of wanted, and the thing that I kind of got for the challenge because I just want an excuse for it, and if I can get it on.
Oh my god, that is.
I got the giant.
Yes, I did see that as well, but that looks.
I got the Doom Fist.
That looks so bad.
Oh my god! So what it is it feels like plastic.
It is latex.
Latex. Sorry, and then inside's the foam. Oh. And I honestly think what they've done is they've just got a glove and put the stuff on it, and then they've given me only 3 fingers, which always feels kind of weird.
All right. Okay. Is that your haul done?
Yes, that's me.
Right. Okay.
This is something I've always wanted because I'm a massive Hellboy fan. So I always wanted this. But to think that I've got the metal throwing Robin staff for like $4. This cost me about 22, 23, I think.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, here's mine. All right.
I got ripped off.
I'll just scoot off camera while
as I poleaxe myself. So seeing as Jordan's going, I'm kind of happy with what I got. The Predator mask, still one of the coolest, most stupid things. This thing, I think what was weird is it cost me about $4, but then it was about $8 in shipping, so that's kind of funny.
All right, hang on.
Oh my god.
There we go.
Oh my god.
I mean, I do. I showed this to Ellie last night, and she said, "You look like a Mexican wrestler with your facial hair with this."
Oh, hang on. You actually speaking of Mexican wrestlers.
Oh. So for those of you who maybe are not watching the vidcast on YouTube of this one, you may want to tune in. This is hilarious. So I bought a Captain America latex. I'm actually a bit disappointed. I thought it would be more heavy. Oh, there we go. Rey Mysterio in the house.
This is very much thanks to the guys at 2K. They know that I'm a massive Rey Mysterio fan, so they sent me this. But yes, this is Mexican wrestling.
I mean, this is just a beautiful podcast right now, isn't it?
I was gonna say this is if you're listening to this, there is just ridiculous masks going
you
on.
may need to maybe go. You know what? I want to save this episode. I want to go back and look at it on the YouTube just to see the ridiculous. I mean, to be fair, I don't.
Does it cover the whole thing, or is it just?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ!
Oh yeah. This cost me $30. This.
Jesus Christ! Now I feel ripped off with my stupid Hellboy thing.
We can even go hilarity level now with look. We can do Loki America.
Captain America.
Loki
and then
America.
you've also got the hammer in the back as well, just to make it.
Yeah.
It looks it makes you look like fucking what is it like a Hulk Hogan kind of handlebar mustache, like the Chopper Reed mustache.
I mean, I was thinking if this was in red, I would look like a really good Red Guardian. The Russian
one.
Oh, there we go. Right.
Okay, that's kind of sick. I saw the ones where they had like the shield, and they had like Jonathan, as I now call him.
I did want to get a Captain America shield, but I could not find one that looked good enough for $30 odd. All of them were like starting about 50. And I was like,
well, the one that I saw for 30 was the
crappy toy
the Black Panther one.
Oh yeah, the that one.
Yeah, which I'm like, they're cool.
Get
but
this
I'm like,
man a shield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they gave him 2. He's like, I said 1. Budget cuts, guys. Budget cuts, which is 1.
Budget cuts. Yeah.
So yes. So we had some fun with this, guys. So let us think what you think. Who won?
Who won?
I won't lie. I'm kind of leaning towards you.
But I'm leaning towards me as well. I mean, I did think it was a bit ridiculous. And to be fair, for hilarity,
I do kind of like this.
I did like, although I did find I could buy a full Predator style mask with braids. But
I saw that.
But I knew it was like that, and it was latex. It wasn't hard, and so you just know that it wouldn't sort of stand right. And
I got fluff everywhere now from that Rey Mysterio mask. I need to sneeze because of it, but yes. But yeah, I won't lie though. I think it looks even funnier because it's giving you this massive like chopper.
Yes.
So you kind of look like the deep south.
I think at the moment, until I get to summer where I shave this bad boy off. At the moment, it doesn't really suit me. But I think when we get to... But although it does give my wife a good giggling fit for about 10 minutes while she was looking at me in it. She was just like, oh my God, you look ridiculous. I mean... It's
great too with the chopper beard. Like, I think that's what it is. Like, it just makes you look like you have these massive handlebars. And it's kind of like Redneck Captain America.
Redneck Captain... There we go. That's the episode title. Redneck Captain America.
Oh my God. What will happen if Captain America and Chopper Reed had a baby? And then there's just a picture of Jordan.
Oh, Lord.
Mate, you need to send me a picture of you wearing that so I can put that on the thumbnail. Oh,
yeah, we can do that. We can sort that.
Because it's just funny. And then I'll take one. I'll take one with this.
Yeah.
Jesus, I don't know. I kind of like this. I'm a little disappointed in the Hellboy.
Yeah,
latex kind of thing.
It's one of these things when you're talking about getting cosplayer props. Anything that's under 50 is a dodge. It's either going to be really good or it's going to be really terrible. If you're talking about a big piece, obviously your Robin symbol thing is sweet for $4. That's good.
I think it was $4 or $5. But yeah, when it came, I was like, okay, this is just going to be like 3D printed, sprayed gold. It's fine. But the fact that it's metal.
I mean, it's probably scrap aluminum, maybe, probably.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's kind of.
Oh, it might be scrap. How heavy is it? Is it like heavy?
It's not that heavy. It's probably not aluminum because this is aluminum. If I can get it, which is my thingo, and it's heavier, and this is heavier than that.
Oh, so it might be a thin piece of scrap steel, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
It's just kind of.
Or a steel. Yeah, but anyway, but it's a good deal for. I think your Robin thing, sweet. That was a good one.
Yeah, I think the Robin thing's sweet. I think this is sweet. I love the MacGyver thing mainly just because.
Oh yeah,
I love MacGyver.
That is good. That's a good cap. That's a great.
But yeah, like because when I got it, the Hellboy was the last thing I opened. And I was like, oh my God, and then I was like opening the Hellboy and I was like, no, like I just wish there was more padding or something. Like it literally just feels like.
You could easily, but you need some form of like metal wire cage in there to make it bulk out. You know, you could do something. Take the foam out, get a wire cage on it to make it fit properly, and then you could do something with it.
Or even just strap my arm a little bit, or put a little bit more foam in it, so that when my arm goes,
you need it. You need it to sort of bulk out, sort of thing. But yeah, you could do something with it. It's a good basis. But anyway, right.
I'd still be happy, but I do think I think the Captain and Marvel, like, though it may not be the best quality, because it's latex and it just fits on. I think because it's meant to be worn tight, it's cool.
Yeah.
But I think it's the mo. It has to be the big handlebar mo, because you don't see the beard, that just makes it look like,
I mean,
Redneck America.
Well, it's that, or I just put on. I'm not even going to attempt a Russian accent before anyone asks. I'm not attempting it because I can't do accents very well. But yeah, it would be terrible. But yeah, obviously I could maybe pull it off if it was red and be the Great Red.
I'm surprised you can't get like one. You know who I miss? My one of the girls I worked with at Spotless, her name was Belle. And anytime you got, you know how you used to get those emails that used to be like, "Hi, I'm Svetlana. I want to."
Yeah.
You'd send them to her, because then what she would do is she'd read them in this thick Russian accent, and her Russian accent was flawless. And I remember turning to her once, not realizing that the chief operating officer was behind. He'd come into the office and we hadn't heard him. And she's reading this thing out, and we're all laughing. And I was like, "Belle, you just got a whole heap hotter." And all I hear behind me is he's like, 100% agree, but 100% inappropriate from the CEO. This is the COO of the company. I'm like, oh God, I'm gonna get fired.
No, it's what when you got a good CEO, you've got a good CEO. So yeah, so everyone, I'll put a poll up on the Spotify as well as on. Oh no, I can't do it on the YouTube, but I can put it on Spotify, and I can also do it on Twitter. Because why not? So
but on YouTube, just chuck it in the channel. So
I'll put a pinned comment. People can message and make a decision on that, and we can go from there. So yeah, so that'll be good. We are going to discuss Warhammer in general, obviously. So for those of you, I mean, for full disclosure, I used to work for Games Workshop. It was a good job. There's a bit of turmoil about how I left, sort of thing. But anyway, that's different podcast for a very different day. But yeah, we didn't end on good terms. Let's just put it that way. We started on good terms, we left on bad terms, and this is the thing. But I was introduced for Warhammer when I was a young kid, painting models and stuff like that. Then realizing, you can play games with them. Great, fabulous. I thought it was excellent. And my painting back then as a kid was awful. I then became an adult and then was looking for a job, got hired by Games Workshop, and my painting wasn't much better. It's amazing.
I didn't tell them that in the interview.
They said, "Don't worry, you will." I advised them, saying I haven't touched a model. I said I could tell you all the lore because I enjoy the books and the lore and everything else. But if you ask me about painting tutorials, I will suck at it. Because I can't do it. I have not done it for so long. He said, don't worry, that is on-the-job learning. You will learn how to do it. Because you will be surrounded by it. You'll have to paint miniatures. Do not worry. So, I worked for Games Workshop for, I'm going to say 3 years. About 3 years.
It's cool, man. Also saves you a fortune if you get into the hobby.
Well, let's just say you are encouraged to actively have an army for every game system they currently have. So at the time, they only had Warhammer Fantasy, 40k, and Lord of the Rings was the 3 currently active game systems available. Obviously now you've got Blood Bowl.
I got Blood Bowl. My brother got me. When he came back from London. He bought me Blood Bowl.
I love Blood Bowl. Sadly, we weren't allowed to talk about it. I was told by upper management I was not to actively speak about Blood Bowl.
If anybody has a 3D printer out there, get in touch with me because there's a Blood Bowl team I want. It is the most stupid thing I've ever seen. Somebody put it up on, I think it was like Thinkiverse or something like this, and it's literally gingerbread men. And the gingerbread men are bigger or different based on the thingo. So the miniatures are about this thin, but then they've kind of got like button eyes and stuff. And it's like this gingerbread Blood Bowl team. It is stupid. But for some reason, I want it, and I don't know why.
So, so basically, I fell in love. Obviously, I started working there when it was 7th edition for Fantasy and 6th edition for 40k. So we're talking a few years back now, because I know the 40k has moved on, and obviously fantasy has now become Age of Sigmar. Personally, I don't agree with it, but that's
Hey man, they doubled down on their fantasy marines.
I mean,
right?
don't get me right. No, don't get me right. It's kind of all right. The entire story and build-up arc for Warhammer Fantasy, it was going to collapse. It had to, because chaos was invading, blah blah blah, and things had to end. I get that, but the fact is that's like, why did you have to then make it go? Oh well, we're going from formation style combat, which is quite cool, to it's now 40k but with fantasy version. It's like yes, okay, I agree it's simpler. Don't get me wrong, because fantasy was complicated as hell, especially with how you maneuver and all this. So there was all this. It was a very big, bulky, horrible thing to try and explain and get people excited about. I could easily sell twice as much 40k as fantasy, because it was you buy this one unit and you can play how it needs to. They've all got to stay within a certain dimension of each other, but you got a bit of free reign, blah 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 blah, so on and so forth. Whereas fantasy,
this is the closest I've ever come to learning 40k.
This is great.
I love 40k, but I like painting. I've played, I think, 6 games in total.
I'll tell you now, I already guarantee that there'll be people typing going, no, that's not how you play anymore, because things have moved on. I think we're on 8th edition or 9th edition now, and I guarantee you I probably can't play it because it's probably completely changed. Most things are probably completely changed. But I now know that they've got. I mean, the one big thing I had a problem with playing fantasy or even 40k was if you wanted to play a game with someone, it would take you 3, maybe 4 hours for a good size army. Because you could play a little game with a couple hundred points worth of miniatures and you could be done in an hour. Great, but you can't have anything fun. You can't have the big tanks. You can't have the giant robot. You can't have any of that because they cost too many points. So it's like, great, well, let's ramp up to 2,500 or even 3,000. Great. The problem is at that point, this game will take 3 to 4 hours and
cost you about $1,700.
Oh yeah, no. It take I would say take cost out of it, but let's ignore cost for it.
That's what 40k. That's what.
Especially as we can't really speak too loud because the wife's just trying. The wife's like in through behind that wall. So let's just not talk about cost.
You got a 50% off, so you were golden. Oh.
So yeah. She doesn't know how much art. There's a few Forge World models in there that even with the discount.
Just gonna put this mask back on and just hide.
Yeah, pretty much. Anyway.
I don't want to upset Ellie.
Anyway. So, So the problem I had was, of course, I loved playing the game. It was good fun, either fantasy or 40k. But you always could only play one game, and it was annoying. Hence the reason why I got into Magic, because someone said, "Have you tried playing Magic the Gathering?" Now I heard of Magic the Gathering. I've never played it at the time, and it was just one of those things. And they said, "Oh, there's a free app." Great, sign me up. As I said last episode, it was a free app. Sign me up. And how do you do? I went immediately down the road of Magic the Gathering because, in an hour I could play potentially 3 games. For quick decks, bam, 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 job. Slow grindy decks is maybe 1 game, but the fact is, in a day you can go and play several. You can play like potentially 30 odd games in a day. Whereas if you went to a 40k or a fantasy tournament, there'd be a day structure. You'd start off at 500 points and then 750 and blah blah blah.
Oh, that's cool. I've never actually played like that. Step up. That's kind of cool.
So I did a couple of where we went to the Mecca, or AKA Warhammer World in Nottingham. I
still want to go there. That's on my bucket list.
I'll warn you now. Go, but leave your wallet with someone. It's safer that someone has your wallet and you don't.
Not really, because because we were doing that the other day, the conversions between the pound and the Australian dollar, then the price of Model X versus Model X in Australia, and there's a vast difference. Like there's about $30-40 Australian difference.
Wow. Okay, but yeah, so you go to Warhammer World, and I think what was the first one I did? It was the Bab Dab campaign. That was it. It was good fun. And
Dab.
the Bad Dab, which is a system out in the Galactic Spin. It's interesting. But anyway, we did a Bad Dab campaign. It was a growing structure, so you started off with 500 points. You know, they gave you all the rules in advance, so it gave you like a week to prep your army list because you had to submit them. And so, you know, it's like, all right, here's my 500-point list. But the problem is, you know, you don't know which opponent you're getting until the day. So,
that's cool.
And everyone's open, sort of thing. You're either going to, you know, everyone was drawn into different teams. You're either with the good guys or the bad guys, essentially. And, you know, but you could have Dark Elves. You know, you could have the Dark Eldar. So, no, what's the Dark Elves? They were Dark Elves at the time, weren't they?
They were Dark Elves, yeah.
They were Dark Elves at the
Elder.
time, yeah. But you could have Dark Elves being on the good team, basically. So it didn't matter overall.
Oh, so you could technically have Chaos in the good team.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah. So it could have been, you could have been, I'm playing Chaos Space Marines, but you've been drawn into the good team. But that's fine, because you're just playing for team points. It doesn't matter. But there was flavor spin on your arm. Like, you know, on day 2, they'd want you to set up your entire army you've brought, and they'd sort of, you know, and say, oh, well, what's it all about? You know, what's the color design for? And you say, oh, you know, because some people did. I mean, I did. What did I take at that time? I was playing my Salamander Space Marines. I was playing. I was playing the 10th Company, so mine was the Armory Corps. So when I used to build my armies, I was a fluff guy. As we call them, people who build to a certain spec around books and lore is called fluff. So you build a fluff army. Oh, well, you know, I tend to stay towards tech marines and tanks and stuff like that because they're the artillery section. So, you know,
makes sense.
You know, whereas if you were going to be 6th Company, they had the assault marines or the terminators and stuff like that, you know. So I had like in terms of competitiveness, it was terrible at the time.
Yeah,
but
I've noticed that.
In terms of lore, it was a fine dish I was serving up to my judge, and he was happy with that. You know, I think I got the wooden spoon at the end. It was great. You know,
I won't lie though. Yeah, if you go fluffy, your army normally looks amazing on theme. It looks brilliant on the table, like everything. But the second you roll a dice, dies.
No. The dice gods punished me constantly because they're like, why, Jordan, fix this army, bring some power, do something. It's like, no, it's not in the game, it's not in the law, I can't do it. But the dice gods were never happy with me. But anyway, but yeah. So apart from that, I mean, I enjoy fluff, so I actually build a lot of armies around that. But my favorite army I have, and it is my little pet child, which is my it's my Valhallan Ice Warriors Imperial Guard army. So these are basically Soviet Russia with their woolen hats and everything, and they're they do artillery, they have melter guns.
There's a guy on the internet here, and I think his name's Pete the Wargamer, and he does this kill team that's like that. But he like specializes all of them, but because obviously the models aren't around anymore, he makes them from scratch.
Well, literally 90% of my army is all metal, which, as you can know, it's the old pewter metal as well, so it's heavy as shit. I do have some plastic models, but I've bought a load of custom things from different websites and different companies to make them Valhallan with signias and stuff like that. So, you know, I've got like Lehman Russ tanks that are painted and they have some bits and bobs slapped on to make them look, or like green stuff to add sandbags and stuff like that, to make it sort of unified in terms of look. But I've done camo paint, it's a blue, grey and white camo paint on mine, and they all look really good. But
that's the thing though, and that's the thing, especially nowadays versus even probably 10 years ago, the amount of stuff that's out there for aftermarket stuff that, like, I've seen now, like, for example, Whirlwinds, you can get like different torrents for them to make them look different. There's like, you can get all this different model. Like, I've seen there's a few really cool like female Tau out there. There's like all these different things now, and I think it's really opening up that community of, I want to go with a theme. I want to pick a theme, even if it's not quite as fluffy, but it still you want to make it a touch more competitive. It allows you to grab things to make it feel more fluffy.
It was one of those funny things of, obviously, coming from the inside, because obviously I was aware of things being said by Games Workshop, and it was like, aftermarkets you do not speak of. Said, look, if you've built with them, fine. We're not going to pull you up on it, but if you are found promoting anyone else's website in our store by any management, you are in trouble. Like not
I can imagine.
even just a first warning kind of trouble. Like they were very much while you were in our store, even if you've turned up to play a game and you are not at work, and you're found promoting stuff, you will be in trouble. They did not want it about anything about aftermarket at all.
I wonder how it's like now, because if you think about it, like there's so many different paint ranges, there's so many different brushes, there's so different many aftermarket like parts like scrapers and knives and.
Well, I can't speak about nowadays. Obviously, I can only speak about my time, which we're talking nearly 10 years ago now. Is it 10 years ago? Yeah, about 10 years ago now. And we were told to, we were trained to divert back onto Games Workshop products.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
It's, so used to, because I feel like I'm giving away personal secrets, but I didn't ever sign an NDA. So, you used to go for training, and you had to go up to Warhammer World for your training, and they had a practice store for you to train in. Cool. And so, because you had to learn about how to actually sell the product, because, no offense, wargaming models is a very niche product.
Yeah, 100%. Like, yeah.
So you were trained. You could be the best. You could be a best salesman as a car or anything like that. But Games Workshop train you how to actually turn a negative into a positive.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, the fact is, because and it was like, because the majority of people get into Games Workshop because their parents buy them a kit. They buy them and they buy them specifically the paint kit. I think it was £10, £15 at the time. I don't know how much it is now. And and it comes with 5 Marines, a handful of paints, and a paintbrush, one paintbrush.
Yeah.
And and it allows you to put them together, get the base layers on and stuff like that. And what you would do is that you would upsell, so you'd be like, oh great, well you could buy them this and they can get started. And guess what? If you want, you can drop and buy for a painting tutorial session, and we'll happily walk them through on how to do it, and we'll help prep it for them, and they can help build it if they want, or if they could build it in advance, and then we can go from there. And so you'd sell it like it's a free service, because it was.
Yeah. But
suddenly, while they're there and talking, you're talking to them about, oh, well, I've been working on this, or you're showing them a cool, oh, well, you're building the Space Marines. Well, funnily enough, I'm having to paint this dreadnought for the store. Yeah. And it's just like, so that's how they teach you all these little tactics on how to
get in. And I must know, like, I was lucky. So I was probably maybe 11 years ago, 12 years ago, I think was when I first. So I was living with my housemate at the time, Zoe. Every Friday night, she used to go to the Games Workshop in Melbourne. And there were Dan Attrell, who is still now a very good friend, Mo, who is this massive Samoan dude, who still to this day, I love this man. He is amazing, who were in that store. And Zoe used to just go in there. There was a painting table, so you used to be able to paint. You'd buy miniatures, you'd buy paints and different things. And then what would happen is after that, we would go to sushi. We would go out for sushi with all the guys that were there. So when I first got there, same thing. Mo's like, "Oh, do you want me to help you?" He goes, "You ever thought of doing this?" I was like, "No." And so I have this big Samoan dude sitting next to me, pretty much just like, "Shut up and paint it blue." Like, he obviously didn't say that. He's lovely, but yeah, that was the joke I made. So just shut up and paint it blue. But it is amazing how when somebody's there and taking that time to sit with you, show you different things, offer advice on different things, it does give you a lot of confidence, and it does be like, I really want to do this. And weirdly, that's where we kind of got this idea to talk about 40K. Was Dan Attrell at the time had just taken over from ARC. So ARC 40K is a massive event down here. When he first took it over, there was about 140 odd people over 2 days. At the time, I think it was 11 or 1,200 points. And you'd pay 6 games, and then there'd be award. It was the first year that he had taken it over. So I'd been in the store maybe 5-6 months, and he's like, "Bro, what do you do for a living?" Like, just chatting. And I was like, "Oh, I work in events." And he's like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Any chance you want to come and help do this?" Fast forward probably 11 years later, and we now have the 25th anniversary of this event. So that's coming up in March, which is hella exciting. Yeah, and it's weird to see it. So it was always based at Collingwood High School. You'd have two kind of basketball courts. So you'd have half the tables in one, half the tables in another. And after we did it a year, we just kind of ran it exactly like the old guys did it, who were Mark Morrison and some amazing people. But they were just getting, as they said, we're getting too old. We don't really want to run this anymore. Do you want to take over? So Dan took over, and I came in more as just a volunteer. And then from there, it's kind of grown. So we've kind of realized, and every year we've tried to change little things. And I think that's something that I was talking to people when it comes to events. Don't be afraid to start small. Even if you want to have like big televisions and fireworks and stupid stuff like that, you're not going to have that year one. So what he did was he obviously got a group of friends, myself, Panda, Adam Dorney, and a few people together to try to strengthen his core team. Obviously, his brother, who was also really into computers, his dad used to come down because his dad does model trains. But oh my, side note, if you ever get to see Dan Natural's dad's trains, like you open it up and there's a whole bedroom and it's like a model train, and you walk in and you kind of stand. Talk about mind-boggling. I have never seen the level of detail, and I don't really do model trains, but like I could sit in that room for 3 hours and just watch the trains go around.
See the details everywhere. Yeah, no.
Oh my God.
No. Model train. You know, it's one of these things of model trains and Warhammer in general is so transferable in skills. And to be fair, they're ingenious because they actually. I knew a load of guys in London who were. You know, they used to build model trains and stuff like that, and they would motorize their builds. So one guy I knew, this is when I worked at Covent Garden, he actually took one of the Lehman Russes and made it mobile with a remote. So you could do that, and he would drive backwards and forwards and stuff like that. So it's like, bro, have you talked to Games Workshop about this? You know, I'm sure there's a deal to be made somewhere with a kit.
Yeah.
You know, I'm pretty sure there would be quite a few people going, wait, can I actually motorize my Lehman Russ? Yeah, I'll pay extra for that. You know.
Yeah, but and that's the thing though. Like, and from him as well, I got a lot of advice around basing and different stuff. So what Dan did is he built up his core unit, and then from there we've grown every year. So I think it was about the third year we decided to get out of Collingwood because we decided that what's the point of having 160 people there or 150 people there, having 80 in one room, 80 in the other? Because if you've come with 6 mates and 5 of your mates in one room, they're going to have an absolute ball, and the other one's just going to sit there not really knowing anyone. And I think that was the thing that Dan really did work on was the fundamentals. So he focused on, it wasn't just going to be like, if you smash everybody, you win. And this is the thing that I find makes this event have longevity, is that it's 50% sport. So say, for example, I play Jordan. Jordan will actually get a sheet and actually mark me on sports and different things like that. You get, and that's one component. Then the equal component is winning. The other equal component is paint. And then obviously you get certain points for theme and stuff like that. And because it's this perfect triangle, or this perfect pie graph of the different elements, it makes the event really, really fun.
Honestly, one of my favorite stores I used to work at was Barn. Was it Barn? No, it wasn't Barnet. It was it was Lower Barnet at the time. It's moved now. But when I used to work there and used to cover the manager, because I was once I was fully trained, I was like a swing cover for managers. So because obviously most stores in England were one man bands, sort of thing. So whenever they needed cover, they used to get another manager or a swing guy to come in and run it for the week,
a week or
however long they were off for. And I used to cover this store, love it. It was great. It was fabulous. He had a really good group of core kids. He used to come in, and during the week was a bit quiet, and then sort of Thursday to Sunday it was busy. Yeah. With these kids would come in after school. You'd have them there for a couple of hours and blah 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 and so forth, and it was always good fun. So we ended up starting, and they used to like me because obviously I was a bit new and fun, so it was always good. Yeah. So I remember one time organising a tournament with him, and I set up something like that, and he was like, right, well, we're going to do this little miniature tournament, blah, 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 they're all used guys, and they thought it was a great idea. I said, there'll be a little prize. I think I put in $5 for a voucher. £5 for a voucher or £10 for a voucher. Because it's nothing to me. I was an adult earning money, and these kids are like, free money, So,
especially
but
in a store
I was
that
like,
they
rules,
love.
and they said, what's the rules? And I said, we're going to do this. It's going to be this, blah, blah, blah. And I said, one of the rules was, if you've got 3 colours and a wash, minimum on your models, you get a point. I mean, what do you mean?
Yep.
I said, oh, if you turn up in a fully built but unpainted army, you're going to get no points. They said, because I want to take photos for the Facebook page. No one wants to see unpainted models. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
What? Said so. Hang on. So say me, I think it was me and Joe at the time. He's like, oh, so hang on, me and Joe will play a game. He's going to get a point because he always paints all his models to like in the nth degree. But if I don't paint mine, I don't get a point. I went, yeah. He went, all right, that. He was like, fine. So he went off and, of course, he painted his army for the first time.
100%.
And amazing, guess what? He actually enjoyed doing it.
Well, that's the thing.
So, but it was funny because I used to always do stuff like that. And I ended up because I was painting an assassin for a kill team squad. I was painting the Vindicator assassin, the big sniper guy.
Yeah.
And I painted him and I put him in the store randomly. And when someone was playing up, I'd roll a dice and go, so where's your commander? There. So I'd get a tape measure out. Yeah, okay, he's in range. Takes 3 points of damage. What? Where from? I said, oh, from the Vindicator assassin. What Vindicator assassin? There's a Vindicator assassin in the store. Have you not found him yet? What? And they're like, yeah, there's a model Vindicator assassin. He's ready to shoot. He's got eyesight to all the tables. So I've just given you forewarning that he will shoot. So if anyone starts playing up, I'm going to shoot one of your miniatures.
Oh god.
They thought it was the most ridiculous role, and it's just like, oh, sorry, is someone complaining? No complaints. There was no complaints from me. I was not saying a thing, Jordan. It's like, oh, sorry. It sounded like there was some disturbance from this table. Yeah. I'm sure I heard something. I went, no, it wasn't from me. It wasn't from me at all. I went, They found it on the last day. The last day they all grouped together and came to me, all 6 kids, and they're like, Jordan, can we ask, where the hell's the Vindicator assassin? I went, okay. And I pulled it down. It was this tiny nook that you couldn't see from the front. I was like, oh my dog shit. And I went, no, he had line of sight. I said, he has line of sight, I don't care.
He's got line of sight from everything. That's the thing though, and that's the thing that we learned about doing these events is that if you can make people happy, like at the end of the day, going and beating the snot out of somebody with your army and just obliterating them, nobody has fun.
Oh, no one has fun. No.
And that's the thing. So, and this is the one thing that I think that ARC stood for, that also Dan has now doubled down in, and all of us TOs have kind of got around, is that we need to make it fun. And at the end of the day too, though, we have had people, so there's awards for best general. So there's the top 3 awards for best general that they get for beating the snot out of everybody. Yeah. There's best painted, there's best sports. There's players' choice and TO's choice on several of these things as well. So there ends up being about 16 or 18 awards, plus obviously then placing. But this year we've got 200 people. We also have a painting competition with a special guest judge that I don't think I'm allowed to say yet, but it's going to be huge because it's international. So that's one thing. That's the little nugget I'm giving away. But it's really become this community. Like, it's weird. I've been doing it 10 years now, and there's people that I can now talk to, that I remember, that we chat every year, this, that, and the other. 90% of them can't remember my name because I'm just the dude behind the computer. Because a lot of my planning is done prior to the event. Like, at the moment, I'm setting up like food trucks and different things. When I first started, I was doing video editing and making like little movies and stuff for the different rounds. Organizing like the big screens or the tables and different things. So it's kind of funny. So you've got like Dan and Panda, who unfortunately isn't in it this year, or not going to be a TO this year, but he's going to become a player, which I'm excited for. Like, I love Panda. He's just one of the nicest guys, and I really want to see him do well. But like you, he takes more of a fluffy army and then pads it out a bit with some cool stuff.
I mean, about to say, it's the one thing that I used to see all the time with players is they're not winning. And they get really disheartened and stuff like that. So I used to say to them, look, take things in a different direction. Oh, we had a great guy, Big Carl. He lived forever in my heart. He was the guy who was single, mid-30s, has expendable cash. He's got a good job. He has expendable cash. And he would come in on new release day, and if you could convince him to buy it, he would. That was his challenge. And I remember one time, because he used to stop by the store and play games and paint models and stuff like that, I'll just come by for a quick chat, and he was always good to have. He was a perfect customer. I used to love him. And I remember one time, he came by the store, we were having a chat, and we were chatting about the Ogre Kingdom's army. The new book had just dropped.
Yeah.
And he was asking about it because he always used to like the ogres and stuff like that. And we're having a good natter and talk about it and stuff. And he's like, "Oh yeah, I've been thinking of maybe starting it up." And I said, "Well, what's stopping?" He said, "Well, I can't think of anything fun to do with it because he was a really good modeler. He was fab. He was a great modeler." He said, "But because they look quite static in terms of models." And I was like, which I agree with because they were very static. It was only the brand new models that looked good. The original models were very, sort of very similar pose, and they just didn't look great. And I said, "Well, why don't you do?" Well, I said, "You're no offense, Carl. You're a great model. Why don't you do something different with it?" He said, "Like what?" He said, "I don't know. Like go goofy with the idea." And then suddenly he went away. He bought the new book. He went away and he came back the next week and he went, "Jordan, thank you. We've got some good ideas." I went, "Okay." He said, "Well, you're going to tell me?" I said, No. I just need to buy these models and I'll be back next week."
He's the sort of guy that you kind of go,
alright.
he's like that evil genius
Yeah,
when you're
yeah.
like,
Oh no,
he's got an idea. I'm worried,
yeah.
but excited to see.
I'll tell you now. He's the guy who plays the mage and has levitate as a cantrip in D&D, just so he can levitate someone's body and carry all the extra treasure, or levitate himself out of the trap and let all the rest of the party. He's that guy. So immediately that'll tell you everything you need to know, Des.
Yes.
So when
100%.
he said this, and I was like, right, and then he bought all these models and he bought a full army, and I'm like, okay. I dread to think what I'm going to see next week. So, of course, I'm excited. So, next week, he come in and he walks in. I'm like, all right, Carl, how's it going? He went, yep. So, I'd like to introduce my ogre army. So, he starts pulling out. Every ogre model is individually modeled differently. He had one who's taking a shower and has a shower ring round him. And he's running with a rubber ducky and stuff. He's just, he went mental, and every single model was completely different. One of them was raging because there was no toilet roll.
Oh my god.
And you know what? I've never laughed so much when someone's setting up an army. Every model was complete.
See, that's
none of them matched, which is the best bit. It was like, if this is like, in terms of having the weirdest warband all got together one day as an army. And I was just like, Carl, I love it. And I hate it at the same time. I said, this does not look like a uniform army. He went, I know. That's the genius of it.
I love that.
He said,
I love it.
Why have it uniform? They're ogres. They get together. Why do they all have to see the same banner?
Yeah, I know.
I'm like,
so, all right, love, you're gonna wear the same pants?
No, he had a pirate one with a hook and a parrot and everything. And oh my god, it looks so good, Des.
I thought they brought out a model that looked like that.
I don't know what they meant. No, this is in the days of Yonder before he, so he had him carrying like a proper cannon.
Oh my god. Man, because this kind of reminds me, but one of the TOs this year, Andrew Long, who's always comes down, he works in GW still to this day. The best way to describe him is he kind of looks like Father Christmas, like jet white hair, jet white beard, one of the nicest guys. But I think he's one of those people too that have been doing it so long that he always pushes himself. So he is the evil genius. He always finishes normally within the top 15, top 20 because he's a great player. Everybody likes him. You see people play games with him, and even if it's their first arc and they've never played it, he's done that. And he's decided to become a TO this year for the 25th because he wants to do a little bit more and get behind it and understand the thing more. But he did Transformer Tau.
I'm on board. Yes. I'm talking with the mech suits looking like
like Optimus Prime, Starscream and stuff. Like,
please say he made him look like Gen 1s. That's all I want to know.
Yeah. They were Gen 1s. That's okay. If I can find photos, I can figure Longy. And so everybody refers to him as Longy. But and then he also got a 3D printer, so he was able to get 3D printer where he was able to get like these force fields, where he's able to do it in like thingo.
Yeah.
So you could see these rockets hitting these force fields and the force fields coming up and stuff. But he's always the person that he if he doesn't win the player's choice or doesn't finish top 3 in the player's choice, he normally takes home the TO's choice because his armies are just so out there.
Yeah.
He pushes the boundaries. His painting is absolutely brilliant. And he reminds, like your mate, Big Carl, reminds me of Longy, except for Longy's more the evil genius that will take him, show a paint job, throw a few additional pieces on there and turn them into things. But yeah, the same kind of vibe, and I'm just like, oh my god, it's amazing. But that's the thing about these big events is because you have to have your army painted, because you have to like you actually get points for your painting based on what you get, like what you did with the 1 point. You go there and it's amazing. Like to see what is it like 100 tables full of fully painted terrain, fully painted armies. It is insane. And that was the thing that really opened my eyes to it. And what's weird is still to this day, I've only played 6 games, and 4 of those were in a tournament that I played because a friend set up a brand new tournament and it was part of the gaming group that I was kind of loosely affiliated with called Sons of Norris, based off Chuck Norris. Kind of funny.
I
And
made the second you said Norris, I thought, I bet this is a Chuck Norris reference.
100%. And so they actually had the Sons of Norris tournament, which was this 1,000 point thing, and they asked me to be in it. So I was like, okay, cool. So I took my Angry Marines because I just thought that it was the funniest thing ever. And if Dan, if you're watching this, I just heard you cringe because he hated it. And the way it was told to me, so Sam Mead, who is still a good friend of mine, who would occasionally come into my streams and stuff, he taught me about these Angry Marines, which was kind of like PTSD Marines.
Yeah,
And it
I
was
remember
kind
the
of
angry.
stupid and it was over the top. And he told me about them and I loved them. So I went out and I bought a whole heap. I also got my command squad commission done by this guy in the UK because I just wasn't good enough to do the modeling and stuff. And I got them and I played in this tournament and I ended up placing third, weirdly, which I was like, I don't know how I did that because half the rules I didn't understand. I didn't know any of it. So I was like, cool. But what was weird then is after I finished that tournament, a couple of guys were mentioning, going, "Oh, that's funny that you took Angry Marines. Did you use the codex?" And I'm like, "What codex?"
Yeah.
And then they were telling me about 4chan and stuff,
Yep.
and I went on, and as much as I love my Angry Marines for what they were, for what they stood for, they were my first complete army and everything. After reading 4chan and the toxicity around this kind of thing, I'm like, I never want to take them out again.
Yep. No.
But I still kind of, in a way, I love the idea of them. But there's people that have kind of taken these Angry Marines and
Yeah, it's
gone
it's
insane.
not a good look. It's one of those things of. I mean, I have one of my old and he still is a friend, Roy. He's been playing with GW models since they came out.
Oh wow!
He's got the original Eldar Titans. You know, the not the ones that you can get at the store. The big ones that you used
Jesus
to buy.
Christ! I don't even.
The full metal thing. This is before plastic. You know, these things are heavy as shit. But the fact is, he is an amazing. In fact, he modeled. I wanted to make some Ogrin for my Valhalla Ice Warriors, and I said, "Oh yeah." I said, "I don't like the models though, because obviously all the Ogrin were Catachans, you know, sort of thing." And I said, "I want to get," and he's like, "Oh, you want some?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, I'll tell you what. Buy me a box of them ogres." And how many do you want? I said, I need 60. He went, right, buy 2 boxes and I'll have them for you. And I went, sure, Roy, yeah, go on. It's great because obviously I had discount.
Do you still have Roy's number? Because there's a few things that I wouldn't mind being made.
Oh, I could hook you up with Roy. He is really good. But yeah, I used to. So I gave him, I gave him the 2 boxes, and literally he came back a week later. They've got full, you know, they got the full Valhalla hats on. They got the flowing cape as well. And he's got these big heavy. Because obviously, because he's been collecting so long, he's got spare parts for days. He's got them all carrying heavy bolters, like Space Marines carrying normal bolters.
Oh my god!
And he's just like, "Thank you, Roy. I could never have done this. How have you done this, Roy?" Honestly, I'll hook you up. He's
man, that's fucking hilarious.
If you don't have, even if you don't have a clue, if you ask him a question, he's one of the guys who goes, "Well, have you considered taking this and putting it with this?" And you kind of have that, and he's like, "That's genius, Roy." He's like, "Yeah, I know."
Yeah, Steve was very much like that as well, and that's one thing that I liked about him. He made this. He got this. I think he was making a steam tank for Empire, but instead he gave it legs and arms. So it was the steam tank that looked up,
so it's
and it was this guy looking like this, and it was the most. And so what happened was it was like a model that was about this high with the sort of base of the steam tank, and then had arms and legs that he'd made out of parts. Same thing. Evil genius. I used to love it. Like the things he used to get, like he'd buy like 7 boxes of stuff, and I was like, Jesus Christ, man, why are they all different? Like, are you doing this army or this army? And sure enough, it wouldn't. It'd be for one unit that he's decided to make because he needs parts from all kinds of things.
Oh yeah.
And Oh man,
Oh, no,
love working with him.
I think I've still got my bits box as well, and from
Oh
working
god.
at GW. Yeah, it's I've got two like tools parts boxes full of
Oh
bits,
god.
and there's bits, the Space Marine. I've got there's so many bits I've got. Honestly, my unpainted pile, the box pile that we all know and love about. Yeah, that needs to be addressed at some point.
Well, I think the only thing that I have unpainted weirdly is like a chaos army that I kind of I don't know. I don't even like. I don't remember buying it. If that makes sense. Like I remember. I think. I
In
think I
that case,
bought.
someone bought it for you. Is what happens.
Yeah.
Because
I think.
I've got a female commissar model that's from another company.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, I haven't painted it yet. It is a gorgeous model, and I do need to put it into Valhalla colours. But it's because Commissariat, I need to do it in the right colours. But yeah, it's one of those things. But yeah, I haven't got around to painting it yet.
I just remember this army having like 2 Hell Drakes, a Hell Fiend, or whatever it was. But then one of the guys that helped me put it together magnetized it, so it was easier to do it. And the whole reason why I magnetized it was because there's all these like bits hanging off, and I'm like, if I try to carry with this, it's going to break this, that, and the other. And then I later found. And then I later found out.
Person, and I used to promote this at store about magnetization. Like, oh no, well, no, we really, and we weren't meant to promote it, but the fact is, just for changeability, or especially on vehicles, where it's like, well, you can magnetize these bits, so suddenly your Lehman Russ is now a demolisher. Oh, it goes from a demolisher to being a vanquisher to being a thing, and all you have to do is stick a magnet in here and make sure the magnet in there matches, and you just ding, ding, ding,
Well, that wasn't originally why I did it. I was doing it just because I'm like, this bit's hanging off. There's a pretty good chance that I'm going to break it. So I'm like, I'll magnetize this. But then somebody later said, oh, I hate people to do that. Why don't you just buy, like, if you need this and that, buy 2 so you don't have to do it. I was like, I didn't do it for that. And to be fair, I don't even think that I have the old parts. Yeah, and I don't even think I have the old parts, which is weird. I genuinely feel like I just did it with the bits that I need.
I'll tell you what, I do, mate. I mean, we are getting over time, so we're gonna have to wrap this up. But I do remember. I used to love being on eBay, and so because obviously we don't get eBay that much down this side of the world, but it was great being able to go on eBay and suddenly picking up like old miniatures or Forge World. Someone's bought a Forge World thing and it's imperfect and they're selling off cheap. I was like,
yeah, because I don't want to.
It's like, fuck it, I could buy that. I could fill it in with green stuff. Who cares? That and a bit of sanding, job done. And they're selling it for like a tenth of the price that the normal model costs. It's like,
100%.
I'll take that. I mean,
that's what
I'll tell you,
that.
To be fair, I used to be really bad because one thing was that, as a rule, back in the day anyway, of working for Games Workshop, they've used to go cover other people's stores if they had models in the back. Like, because obviously stock rotates out and it doesn't come back out again, and of course the head office don't want it back because they've got, so it just every store used to have a box. They used to sit there and it was just full of old miniatures and models, and it's like, hang on, I can buy these at my discount. Great, fabulous, and so they, stores are happy, stores making money.
Yeah, no.
Getting rid of all this old product is like fabulous.
Oh, that's cool.
Theoretically, if I was a really devious person back in the day, I could have gone through loads of different stores, bought so much old models, and then resell them on eBay for ridiculous amounts of money after I left. And I know that, I'll tell you now, I used to know people back in the day who used to have their retirement stockpile, which is, I'm buying this to put on the stockpile to sell when I finish here, because because if you were caught reselling stuff,
I can imagine
you were in massive trouble. But once you leave,
well, that's one thing that I always noticed is that when people were about to leave, they'd always spend like almost their entire paycheck on buying like bazillion things. And they said that this is for me when I leave. Like, obviously they weren't reselling it, but because they knew that it was more like, this is going to cost me like $1,000 when I leave, or I can buy it all now for half the price. So I'll just do that.
Yeah, no, it is pretty much like that. Every single Games Workshop employee, new and old, has a stockpile. I mean, I've still got stuff in my stockpile, But most of the
No,
stuff.
I want to rate it.
Oh
I
no
wanna
no no.
rate it.
Yeah, to be fair, I've got things like oh god, what have I got? Do you remember? I've got Nagash from the Tomb
Yeah, yeah.
King's Army. I've got the original model of him. The horrible. We'll
I
have
don't
to
even think
get.
I've seen. I don't even think I've
Oh,
seen it.
we'll have to get the photo up on the video. It is a terrible model. It is ridiculous. It is so bad. But I bought it because I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'll buy it just for fun because I could order it. You couldn't order it at the time, but I was like, oh, I could order it. I also bought in Fantasy. You used to buy these elemental models. They used to have rules for them, so you could have them turn up on the battlefield. There was like a Earth, Wind, Fire, and Water one. And they had different abilities, and stuff like that. So they'd turn up and you could fight them, and if you beat them, you got an ability and blah blah blah. And I bought
Oh,
them.
that's cool.
But I also have like a load of old codexes. I have like I have a Dogs of War codex for Fantasy,
Oh yeah, I knew that because I downloaded that once.
which has rules in for like dwarf berserkers and stuff like that.
Oh, that's
these
cool.
these are the slayers who have their axes on chains and they swing them around. They
Oh,
are like
man.
the deadliest thing known to man. I remember
I
I
still remember-
look at the rules up. I was like, hang on a minute. If I build a unit of these, this can decimate every single goblin army I've ever played, and these are just 3 models.
Yes, it can, but unfortunately, if it comes back the wrong way,
Yes,
then it destroys you.
fair dues. But but I was like, my god, for the points price, it's just like overpowered. But yeah, but I've got like the original Battlefleet, Battleship Gothic, and Battleship Armada codexes as well. These are in paper, so people
Yeah,
and I already know that if God forbid if I put them up on Trade Me tomorrow for the Kiwis to buy, they'll be like, hang on a minute, you got these in paper? It's like, yeah. I'll buy.
Damn.
It's a collector
Oh,
item now.
what did I buy just recently? Oh, I haven't bought. So there's a guy so on Facebook there's about maybe 8 or 9 of us that are in this painting group, and they just like email, like we message and stuff, and we show each other's paints and different stuff. And one of the guy posted this spreadsheet, and he goes, pretty much, there's a whole heap of stuff I want to get rid of. Let me know if you want any of it. And I had a look through it, and one of the things that came up was the Birdmen of.
Oh, but
what's it-
Tresk? No.
Uh,
I know what you mean. It's called the Bird.
yeah. I don't know. I remember. I just remember them because Steve Mead said that he was looking for them. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. And this was ages ago, and we ended up finding them for him on eBay and stuff, and it was all good. And then he had them, and I'm just like, they are kind of cool, really weird models. Like they literally just look like dudes.
Yeah, dudes
They
in
kind of have,
gliders.
Yeah, they kind of have like gliders, but kind of almost like Da Vinci kind of wings at the same time.
Yeah.
And they're ridiculous. And I kind of always wanted. And then after he spoke about it, I'm like, that'd be cool. And then I've seen him, and he's like, oh, here's the price. And I was like, it's $20. I'm like, yeah, I'll take those. And there's 9 of them, and I'm like, I'll take that. And then I bought a whole heap of orc stuff just because I like orcs.
Well, I'm a dwarf.
I've never
at heart.
painted orcs.
I'm a
but I
dwarf.
like orcs.
Well, to be fair, I'm Valhallan. Valhallan and the orcs have a big problem anyway. But I'm originally a dwarf player for fantasy. I love dwarfs. Dwarfs are awesome. And to be fair, funnily enough, speaking of dwarfs, have you seen? Obviously, GW have announced that they've brought the squats back. Sorry, they're not called the squats anymore. They're called something else. But there's the squats. And have you seen the guy who's repainted the models that they've done?
No.
So they released them, and they look, futuristic and spacey and all that.
Isn't that the Necromunda one?
No, the guy who did it. I will have to get up the photo, but he took this vehicle that they've done, and it looks cool. But he's repainted it to be the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles van. Oh yeah. Oh no, it's good.
Oh.
He not only did that, he took some of the model because they released the space. The squats have essentially a space wizard, and he's become Splinter.
Oh my
God. Three of their heavy marines is one of each of the turtles, and they have this like light infantry unit, and they've made different poses for Casey Jones with the mask. It looks.
Oh my God.
I will find the image. We need to get it up. It is.
That is awesome.
It is sensational. I saw it and I was like, yes.
Oh man, I really need a place to paint. That's what I've decided now. Like I miss painting. For me, like it's weird. Like I never played games, and it seems weird. Like as I said, I've been doing Ark for 10 years, and I love the community. I love that they get to play games, and I still have zero want to play games. I just miss painting. And that's the whole thing that it is, and I miss painting. But I'm like, I think so. I've got like a little desk over here that I do photography, and I'm so tempted just to set it up for painting, and then just figure out another place to do the photography because I just miss it, man. It's so therapeutic. I found it so calming and just so zen-like, and I loved it.
Dude, open your Facebook, open your Messenger. I've just sent it to you. I found it.
Is it on Discord or on
Messenger, on Facebook Messenger.
Oh.
I just want to get your reaction before we close on the video.
I was gonna say,
It's good. It's good. It's good.
let's have a look. Oh no! It literally just says Jordan sent an attachment.
Yeah, give it a minute. God forbid you're
Come on,
you're Australian.
come on.
Your Australian internet is so slow.
I honestly think that it's my my whatchamacallit, my
Your router.
home internet's just being crap. Oh. No way. Oh my god. Oh my god.
So I'll tell you now. He started off with the vehicle, the one on the upper right, and then it went
That
from
is
there.
amazing.
It looks good though.
I love the Casey Jones. I loved Casey Jones.
Oh yeah,
but
Casey,
oh my god.
yeah, Casey Jones was good. But yeah, it's good though, isn't it?
No, are you sure this isn't for Necromunda or is this
no,
for?
no. The guy decided to do it. It's just for
I
the
don't
new
care, man.
the new squat models that he decided just to take them and remodel them. See, this is the
Oh man.
this is the modeling side I love. Is where someone
Yeah.
takes an idea and runs with it.
Well, this is the kind of
Yeah.
stuff that Longy does, where he
Yeah.
goes like, "Oh, I'm just gonna go balls to the wall and just make it ridiculous." And oh man, that is so cool. I love that. I've got the camera here, and then I've got my phone here, just looking at it. I'm like, oh, I want them.
The best bit is we got your reaction when you went from this to.
See things like this, like, and that's the one thing that I do love about this whole thing. Like, whether you like to paint, whether you like to play, so be it. But this modeling aspect of changing things and making them your own is what I really love. Like, I mean, some people are gonna roll their eyes at things like this and just be like, "Oh, that's stupid. Why would you do that?" I remember seeing like Angry Marines or Hello Kitty Marines or like different things that people have done, and people like always seem to roll their eyes, and then other people like love them. And I think that's the thing about this is you can be as creative as hell.
Yeah, no, that's one thing. The one thing I used to always talk to parents about is that look, they don't have to build it the way it is on the box. They can actually they can put whatever they want on as long as they play the game how they're meant to play it. It doesn't matter how they look at the end of the day. I mean, I remember I did a model. It was the new grade. It was the Grey Knight. I can't remember what it's called. It was this like mech suit, and it was the Grey Knight Space Marine.
Oh yeah, I've seen
and it was
that.
like an
Dawney had a
exosuit.
few of those.
Yeah, and I remember that we got it because every store with the new release used to get like a model to get.
It pretty much looks like Ripley from Aliens.
It was like
in this
Ripley
kind
and
of
Aliens
cool
with
suit.
the exosuit, and basically you used to get the model and you used to have to paint it and display it, and promote the new product and all that jazz.
Yeah.
And I was working at Covent Garden at the time, and Dave was like, "All right, I'm going to give you this one as a challenge to do, and I want you to display it how I want it looking good though, Jordan." I went, "All right, fine." He said, "Do I have free reign?" He said, "Yep, free reign. Don't mind." I went, "All right." So I was like, "Right,
Free reign. That's dangerous.
I was
already.
like, well, "Okay, what am I going to do with this?" So I went into the back and see what spare parts we had, and found that we had a rhino. And I thought, well, hang on, if I pose it to be a bit more action and dynamic, it would look cool. Because it was just sort of stood, it was like a block. And I thought, well, no offense, this is a mech suit. Let's make it look like a mech.
Let's make it look cool.
Let's make it look awesome. So I ended up cutting one of the knee joints, and I basically had it standing on this neck and raised this arm up, and it's launching up with the sword, ready to stab down. And I was like, all right, okay, that looks good. In terms of pose, it looks sweet. And then I thought, well, how can I make it pop? Because obviously the painting guide that comes with it is that all the Grey Knights have all the same colour. And I was like, well, that's boring.
It is.
So
It's the easiest thing. It's like silver.
It's silver, blue wash, blah, blah, blah. It looks boring as. So I was like, well, hang on. Why don't I make metallic green? So I took like silver, added some Dark Angels green, shook up, makes metallic green. So I painted the mech in this metallic green. So it's the Green Knight with an electro sword. Obviously, the Grey Knight in it is the Grey Knight in the proper paint scheme and colour.
Yeah.
And literally, I presented it to Dave, my store manager, and he went, dude, that's sick. I love
Yeah.
that. He said, but it's green. I went, yeah, I know. It's the Green Knight. We have the Grey Knight piloting the Green Knight. And he went, I like it. I'm going to take
He's
photos.
like, I'll accept that.
He
That'd be
he took photos and on Facebook, and we was featured on some pages and stuff like that.
Oh, that's
this
cool.
Night, and he's charging in. He's firing with the wrist gun like that, and he's got the sword. And he's jumping up, and he's just like in this mech suit, and it looks badass. And I was like,
that's the thing that I love about the new Tau models and a lot of the Tau big suits and stuff. There seems to be so much flow to them. There's so much movement to them. They're not just like,
yeah,
and I'm done.
It's one of these things that GW had now realised that people don't want static low-ass looking models. They want to be able to have a bit of customization and posability in it, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So I want to say a big thank you to everyone. Hopefully this audio has come out absolutely spot on this time. We apologise for the last episode. I blame Dez. You know, it's what happens with editing. With poor editors, you know, this is what happens with poor editors.
I guess I would be blamed.
but much love to all our regular people who are listening, and we know you are listening. Thank you very much. We do appreciate any traction we get with response to questions and Twitter and stuff like that. Please find us on there. We're obviously available on Spotify, and you can also see our beautiful, gorgeous faces on YouTube. But yes, I highly recommend that you check us out on those channels, guys. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who has been following us so far. Much love. And yeah, it's great to do another podcast with one of my good friends.
Which we'll soon be doing live.
We'll have, I'm sure we'll knock out a couple of episodes ahead of us, just so we can get ahead of ourselves, just for fun.
I hope so.
You know
what's going to be funny too? The funny thing's going to be is if we record Wednesday and then we meet up obviously the Monday when we're in Tasmania. I'm like, we're going to have so many, and then we're not going to get time to edit them.
No, all we have to do is record. And then we'll sort it out in post.
That's edited Jordan or Derek's
That's edited Dez or edited Jordan's problem.
I know,
you know,
I like it.
You know, the talent don't have to think about that nonsense just right now.
I was going to say, I've just lost my main light. Halfway through that thing, my main light just blew, and I was like, oh, that's cool.
Well, there we go. That's fine. Right, anyway, much love. Thank you very much for joining us on this podcast, guys. Peace out. Enjoy yourselves. Relax. Stay safe. And bye-bye.
From Redneck America.
Redneck America.
Yeah, America.